Which year? Which year?
88. It's an older one.
Why do you think that America still supports Mr. Bush?
Oh, that's a pretty big question.
And we need a precise answer from you.
Well, he started a plan, and you just can't finish it in 4 years. You know, he needs more time to finish what he's doing.
What do you think he has to finish? What kind of job or plan does he have?
Well, he has to get the people over in Iraq to, you know, establish their own government, not a dictatorship, and, you know, get a better way of life going over there.
In America, how people feel about the 4 years, like going to Iraq without any proof of weapons of mass destruction and different kind of mistakes or misleadings. How do you feel about that?
Well, I think they found enough evidence that, you know, all these things were there. I don't know whether you followed where they were digging up jets out in the desert, Russian MiGs, fully armed, fueled. There's enough evidence over there that he was, you know, they were ready to just take what they wanted, wherever the country they wanted. Or
are we dreaming or what? Can we justify a war with some old Russian jets hidden in the sand? Many of the planes were buried intact with minimal efforts to protect them from the sand. Wow, what a threat.
You can't blame the journalists. You can't say, oh, individual journalists are doing a rotten job. We have to accept that this is something much bigger. This is media companies that are so interested in making a profit that they are not willing to challenge powerful forces in government or in the corporate sector. And that unwillingness to ask the tough questions, to be skeptical, to do the job of journalism at the macro level, not the micro level with the individual journalists, is the crisis. Many journalists recognize this. Working journalists, I think, are horrified by what has happened to their media.
Are they really horrified? But what are they doing about it? Well, American journalists like John Nichols are mobilized.
Where journalists refuse to be stenographers to power, where the lies and the liars who would send our children to distant lands to die are exposed before those wars begin.
In May 2005, we followed John Nichols at the National Conference for Media Reform in St. Louis, Missouri. And those journalists had a lot to say about the coverage of the war in Iraq.
We all know what the media did when it came to the invasion of Iraq. Beat the drums for war day after day. The front pages of the papers of record in this country, the top stories on the networks, and we're not just talking Fox. We're talking CNN, NBC, ABC, CBS. That is not a mainstream media, that is an extreme media. It didn't represent mainstream America when most people were opposed to the invasion at that time. We have to un-embed the media. The media has reached an all-time low in this country.
We ask the question, with all we know about the first 4 years of Mr. Bush, how can you explain the strong support for Mr. Bush?
I don't know that there's strong support, but he certainly had a very powerful weapon, and that is the U.S. media. More powerful than any bomb, than any missile. The Pentagon has deployed the U.S. media. That's why we have to take back the media. We have to un-embed the media. The media in this country is no longer mainstream media. It's an extreme media. In the United States, there's the illusion of diversity because there are so many channels. But what matters is who owns those channels, and that those channels are falling into the hands of fewer and fewer owners with a fiercely political point of view.
So don't denigrate his service or I'll boot you right off the set.
So the Republicans are clearly connecting with the regular people where the Democrats aren't.
Do you agree with Michael Moore's vision of America or not?
I love Karl Rove. He deserves better. He's magnificent.
If France stops hurting the USA, we will stop boycotting because we do miss those snail.
What is the links between the Bush administration and the media?
I mean, what we're seeing right now is the Clear Channeling of America. That's a company that owns over 1,200 radio stations. The head of Clear Channel, very close crony of President Bush. President Bush could not have done it alone, pushing the issue of weapons of mass destruction. Many people still believe they were in Iraq.
Do you think that the war in Iraq is a just cause?
Yeah, I do. Something had to be done about Saddam Hussein. He couldn't be left where he was at. If he had, there's no doubt in my mind, he had 12 years to get rid of the weapons of mass destruction that he had over there. You know, you give me 12 years, I can take this thing right here, and in 12 years, I can hide that in a place where you won't never find it, you know? And you could put that much, you put weapons of mass destruction, nuclear material, in a can that size, and that would be enough to wipe Amarillo off the map.